I want to take this time to invite you to join me for the next half hour for Minister in Warfare for the Lord. On Thursday, April the 29th of this year, a monumental report was issued by the Census Bureau stating that the world population stood at 6,363,296,639 people. And of that number, 293,131,160 lived in the United States. But there was something else that happened on April 29th that had even greater significance and importance to me. For my 24-year search for love came to an end. And it was then that I discovered my true love and my soulmate. Now, I've been divorced for some 24 years. And although I was unlucky at love the first time around, but as the songwriter says, love is lovelier the second time around. And a man without love is a man who has nothing at all. And for a man to suffer the pangs of loneliness, that was not what God envisioned for man. For in the second chapter of Genesis, in the 18th verse, God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a companion who will help him." Yes, a man will be truly blessed by God when he finds a good wife. For it tells us in the 18th chapter of Proverbs in the 22nd verse, "The man who finds a wife finds a treasure and receives favor from the Lord." And it was on that Thursday night that fate stepped in. And it was like it removed the blinders from my eyes, and I could see the woman who was meant for me. And out of the 6.4 billion people who reside on this planet with me, she truly is the woman for me. And out of billions of people living on planet Earth, only a few are like her. For out of a world population of 6.4 billion people, she is one of 587 people who belong to a very special club, whose members come from virtually every industrialized country in the world. And of the 587 members who are a part of this club, 277 are Americans. And of those 277, 31 live in New York City. And the average age of those who are a part of this club is 64. And there are only 24 members who are single. And the woman of my dreams is one of the 24, and her age is 50. She's a lot younger than the average age of those who are a part of this club. And the club, well, the members of this club are virtually unknown to the public at large. However, there are some names which are quite familiar to the public. Members such as Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, movie director Steven Spielberg, as well as real estate developer Donald Trump. But the one member I'm most interested in is the one who has captured my heart and caused it to skip a beat whenever I see her face. And her name is Oprah Winfrey, who's an exclusive member of Forbes magazine Billionaire Club. And in a matter of 2 decades, she has gone from rags to riches and is now worth $1.1 billion. Yes, it's true. Oprah Winfrey, I'm in love with you. Now, I'm sure that many of you may feel that I'm being a little facetious and totally unrealistic in thinking that Oprah Winfrey, who has been blessed with an abundance of fame and wealth, could fall in love with an unknown and obscure evangelist from Dayton, Ohio. And besides, you say, she has a boyfriend, and his name is Stedman, and they've been going together for some 20 years. But then I will say to you, although they've been going together for some 20 years, yet Stedman has not asked Oprah to marry him. I think in the case of Stedman, either marry Oprah or step aside. For if a man goes with a woman for 20 years and he still hasn't asked her to marry him, I don't think he really wants to marry her. But in my case, if I were to meet Oprah Winfrey and we would get to know each other and find out that we are compatible, and I find out that she loves the Lord as much as I do, I'm confident that in a matter of 3 to 6 months, I would ask her to marry me without any hesitation on my part. And the fact that she's worth $1.1 billion would not influence my decision in wanting to marry her and spending the rest of my life with Oprah Winfrey. And at this time, I'm going to ask you for your help. Perhaps you may be related to Oprah Winfrey, or she might be a friend of yours, or you may have had some business dealings with her and you know her on a first-name basis. Well, I would like to have you do me a favor. Perhaps you can arrange a blind date between Oprah Winfrey and myself. Let her know that there's a minister in Dayton, Ohio, who would not only be a perfect match, but a perfect husband for her. Remember, there's an old adage that says, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, he can achieve. Always be persistent in the pursuit of your dreams, for nothing is impossible to those who believe. For it is unwavering faith and prayer on your part which can cause the door of opportunity to be opened, which will allow the blessings of God to flow into your life. For Jesus Christ tells us in the 7th chapter of St. Matthew, in the 7th and 8th verses, ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be open unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. And for the vast majority of the 587 members of Forbes magazine Billionaire Club, they knew what they wanted, and they were not too proud to ask for help in attaining their goal. And their net worth reflects the success of their efforts. But is their net worth the true yardstick you should use in determining whether their life was a success or a failure? And this will be the subject of my sermon, which I have entitled, What is Your Net Worth? Have you ever thought about your net worth? By net worth, I mean taking all of your assets, then subtracting all of your liabilities, and that in turn will give you your true net worth. Now, we as Americans have been blessed to be living in a system that will allow us to have the good life even if we are not millionaires. And with credit being made available to us, and of course those wonderful, wonderful credit cards, we can become a pseudo-millionaire. And with the capitalistic society that we live in, it can help us create a prestigious facade, even though we may be 1 or 2 paychecks away from the poorhouse. Now, if you don't start off with an inheritance to begin